So I have a question for all you early risers out there. How do you do it? Like, seriously, how do you wake up at 5:30 in the morning and feel like a human being instead of asleep, deprived zombie negotiating with a cup of coffee for mercy? Smart, because every time I see someone post a picture of their sunrise run or their perfectly organized breakfast at 6 a.m., I think, who hurt you? And why do you hate sleep so much? And here's the hook, I've tried it before. One time I set my alarm for 6 a.m. thinking, today is the day I become a productive adult. I woke up, looked around, realized the sun wasn't even ready, and thought, I'm not doing this. We'll try again tomorrow, maybe next year. And the best part about early rises is how smug they are. You know the type. They're smart. They bounce out of bed like they're auditioning for a motivational video, while the rest of us are lying there negotiating with the snooze button like it owes us money. They post pictures of their journals, their yoga mats, their green smoothies, and you just sit there eating a Pop-Tart, staring at your phone like, yeah, I'm happy with my life, thanks. And the hook hits again. It's not that I'm lazy, it's that my body knows better than to betray me by waking up at a time that feels like punishment. I also love how early risers treat the world differently. They're cheerful at 7 a.m., making small talk and smiling, staring at them trying to figure out which planet I accidentally woke up on. And they always ask the same question, don't you love mornings? No, I don't. If morning loved me, it wouldn't start before 8 a.m. Mornings should be illegal until at least 9. And if I try to explain this, they just tilt their head and say, you get used to it. I'm not getting used to it, Susan. I'm surviving it. And the funny thing is, every early riser thinks they're secretly training us to be better people. They say things like, once you wake up early, no whole life changes. My life changes when I close the door and go back to sleep, okay? The hook is real. It's not even about productivity. It's about sanity. Early risers are basically auditioning for sainthood while the rest of us are just auditioning for a normal human nap. Anyway, thank you all for listening. To all the early risers, I salute you from a safe distance. To the rest of us who roll out of bed at noon, eating cold cereal for dinner, don't worry, we're surviving, thriving, proving that coffee is a valid life skill. Keep doing your thing, and I'll keep doing mine later. So, the first thing about early risers that really gets me is the complete mystery of how they exist at all. You see these people on Instagram or even in real life, grinning at 5:30 in the morning, jogging down the street like they've just unlocked the secret to happiness. And you think, what planet are you living on? How does your body function without a fight? Because for the rest of us, that time of day is basically a cruel joke invented by alarm clocks. And the hook hits immediately. Idea that someone can be awake, alert, and productive before the sun is even halfway to work feels like a superpower. Not the fun kind, flying or invisibility, but the boring, responsible kind where you make a to-do list and meditate before anyone else even has coffee. I've tried it before. I set my alarm for 6 a.m. thinking, today is the day I will join the ranks of the enlightened. I even told myself, Nate, this is it. You're going to be one of those people who stretches, drinks a smoothie, maybe journals about your dreams. I woke up, looked around, and realized the sun wasn't even awake yet. The birds hadn't started chirping, and my brain said, nope. I lay there, staring at the ceiling like it was my job, negotiating with my body like it owed me compliance. The hook here is perfect because It's relatable. Anyone who isn't an early riser has experienced that internal debate, weighing dignity against comfort, sanity against the relentless beep of an alarm clock. And then there's the smug factor. Early risers aren't just awake, they're actively trying to make the rest of the world feel guilty about it. They post pictures of perfect breakfasts, their neatly arranged journals, and the sunrise like they're auditioning for sainthood. You see these images and you think, wow, that looks amazing and also horrifying because I'm still in bed staring at my phone and eating a Pop-Tart. The hook hits again because it's not just observational humor. It's a psychological attack. They're smiling, cheerful, and somehow productive while you're negotiating with your blanket like it's a legal contract. The conversations with early risers are a trap. They ask the same question every time. Don't you love mornings? And you want to respond with honesty, but honesty would involve yelling and maybe some tears. You end up mumbling, sure, mornings are great, which is code for, I would like to crawl back into bed and never speak to the sun again. Meanwhile, they look at you like you're the problem. The hook here is the subtle comedy of misunderstanding mornings are their paradise. But for the rest of us, it's a battlefield. They're the undefeated champions. And yet, as frustrating as it is, there's something fascinating about early risers. There's a mysterious discipline, a pattern to their chaos, a rhythm that we can't understand but secretly admire. Respect them carefully from a safe distance because it's clear they are a different breed. You can't hate someone who is genuinely happy before breakfast, but you can definitely joke about them quietly in your own bed. That hook, this mix of awe, confusion, and gentle mockery is what makes early risers endlessly entertaining. Our living proof the world operates on different time zones. Some people are just born to annoy the rest of us while simultaneously inspiring a little jealousy. Waking up early is a cruel experiment in human endurance that I do not recommend. You set your alarm with the best intentions, telling yourself, today I am going to be productive, motivated, impressive before anyone else even opens their eyes. And for about 30 seconds after it goes off, genuinely believe it, you stretch, you sit up, you breathe in deeply like a character in a motivational video. Then your brain hits you with the harsh reality of, this is a trap. You were not meant to be awake. The hook hits immediately because anyone who has tried this knows that your body does not negotiate. It outright refuses. Every muscle, every fiber of common sense in your body starts protesting. The alarm is no longer a simple beep, becomes a personal attack on your very existence, mocking you for your poor life choices. Then there's the snooze cycle, which is both a blessing and a curse. You hit it once, thinking it will give you a few extra minutes of peace. What you're really doing is tricking yourself into a slow motion panic attack. You start calculating, if I hit snooze again, I'll get 3 more minutes. No, 2 more minutes. No, wait, the shower won't work. The toast will burn. The coffee machine will betray me. And the hook is perfect here because it's universal. Anyone who has ever attempted to wake up early knows this mental negotiation. It's a strategic battle between your desire to achieve something meaningful and your body's unwavering loyalty to sleep. The moment you finally peel yourself out of bed, it's like entering a parallel universe. Everything is quieter, softer, almost too peaceful. The sun is still warming up, birds are casually considering whether to chirp or not. You feel like an intruder in someone else's well-planned morning. The hook comes in again because it's absurd. You expected productivity, but you get a surreal calm that makes you question if the world is punishing you for existing. You sip your coffee like it's a life preserver while attempting to convince your brain that movement is optional, responsibility is not. Early risers, of course, make it look effortless. They're doing yoga, journaling, running, smiling at the sunrise, while you are simply trying to convince your legs to carry you to the bathroom without falling asleep on the way. The subtle humor is in the comparison. They look enlightened, spiritual, and unstoppable. You look like a confused raccoon forced into daylight. The hook hits because the absurdity is undeniable. Human beings should not function like this before 7 a.m. Even the conversation that follows is treacherous. Someone asks, "Don't you love mornings?" And you're forced to answer honestly, or fake it, or lie in a way that won't insult the cheerful human in front of you. Every word out of your mouth feels like a test of patience and diplomacy. The hook is irresistible because it's a battle every night owl has faced, explaining your sanity while defending your sleep habits. And yet, as painful and ridiculous as it is, there's a strange fascination in early risers. You watch them secretly jealous, quietly mocking, and utterly in awe because they've unlocked a mystery you may never solve: the ability to exist, function, even smile at a time when your body is screaming, go back to bed, Nate. This is cruel and unusual punishment. The weirdest part about early risers is how they treat the world once they're awake, which makes the rest of us feel like accidental aliens in our own homes. You sit there rubbing your eyes, trying to remember which planet you woke up on, while they're cheerfully preparing green smoothies, journaling. They're smart or stretching like they're auditioning for a commercial about enlightenment. The hook hits immediately because the contrast is absurd. One person is radiating productivity and inner peace, while you're negotiating with a blanket that is actively trying to keep you in bed. The blanket is winning. By the way, every time you get up, it's like a physical protest. Where do you think you're going? We agreed you'd stay here for at least 3 more hours. Say, you notice how early risers talk differently too. Greet the morning like it's an old friend, saying things like, "Isn't it beautiful out?" Meanwhile, your brain is screaming, "Beautiful, it's terrifying. The sun is up. The world exists, and I am awake." This is not acceptable. The subtle comedy here, the hook, is that they act like mornings are universally joyous, when reality, they are cruel time zones that require recovery. And they have this relentless optimism that is borderline offensive. You can't even drink your coffee in peace without feeling a little guilty because they're smiling and doing push-ups while you're questioning why you exist before 9 a.m. Even the smallest tasks they do are somehow inspirational. You watch them fold laundry like it's a Zen practice, make breakfast like they're performing a delicate chemistry experiment, check their email like they're solving world problems. And you're over here staring at a Pop-Tart, thinking, congratulations, you've won the early morning Olympics. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to survive until noon. The hook is irresistible because it's universally relatable. Everyone has that one friend, family member, or coworker who seems to thrive in a way that makes your own existence feel like a poorly scripted comedy. There's the conversation trap. They ask, "Esh, don't you love mornings?" And you're forced to respond, knowing that any honest answer could start a debate on productivity, happiness, or lifestyle choices. You mumble something vague like, "Yeah, mornings are nice, but internally you're screaming because it's not about mornings. It's about survival. Style, humor comes in here because the audience gets it. You're trying to coexist with someone who has unlocked a mystery you don't even want to solve. The hook hits again when you notice that early risers actually believe they're doing everyone a favor. They think that by being cheerful and awake, they're setting a standard, guiding the world toward better mornings, higher productivity, and improved mental health. And yet, all they've done is make the rest of us feel like slightly dysfunctional raccoons forced into sunlight. You respect them quietly. There's also an urge to mock just enough to feel sane. And somehow, even through all the frustration, you can't help but admire them. Their energy, optimism, and focus are impressive, terrifying, but impressive. Watching an early riser makes you question your own life choices, your allegiance to the snooze button. Whether coffee alone can sustain human existence, and that hook, the mix of awe, envy, mild terror, is what keeps you fascinated, even if you'll never voluntarily join them before 8 a.m. One of the strangest parts about early risers is how they interact with the rest of the world once they're awake, which makes you feel like you accidentally landed in a different dimension. They're cheerful, alert, and somehow fully functional while you're still negotiating with your pillow for mercy. The hook hits immediately because it's ridiculous. Someone is jogging at 6 a.m., planning their day, making a smoothie, and smart. And you're staring at them like they're a Marvel superhero you weren't invited to join. They don't even realize the absurdity of it. They exist in this bubble where mornings are magical, calm, and productive. Everyone else is clearly failing at life by comparison. The way early risers talk is also bizarre. They ask questions like, "Isn't the morning beautiful?" And you have to pretend you see the beauty too, even though all you see is sunlight committing a hostile takeover of your bedroom. Mumble polite responses while inside your brain you're screaming, beautiful. It's a cruel trick of nature, and the hook here is universal. Anyone who has tried to coexist with an early riser knows the struggle of maintaining social niceties while internally plotting how to get back to sleep. Their optimism is almost offensive, not because they're happy, because it's achievable happiness at a time of day when your body is actively plotting against you. Even simple tasks they do are terrifyingly impressive. You watch them make coffee like it's a ritual, fold laundry with precise technique, and answer emails as if they've been training for this moment their entire life. Meanwhile, you're staring at your cereal, wondering why your toast can't toast itself, while also preparing to negotiate with your blanket about why you don't need to leave the bed. Works because the contrast is absurd. On one side, human perfection in motion. On the other, a reluctant zombie attempting to function minimally. The conversations you have with early risers are a minefield. They ask, "Don't you love mornings?" And you're forced to answer without causing emotional damage. Honest answer will start a lecture about productivity, happiness, or self-improvement. So you offer vague affirmations like, "Mornings are fine." The humor comes from this subtle social dance. You're pretending to agree while internally mourning the hours stolen from your natural sleep cycle. The hook is irresistible because it's a struggle everyone night owl recognizes. Early risers also believe they're setting an example, which makes the situation even funnier. They think their cheerful wakefulness is inspiring to the rest of us, yet all it does is make us feel like raccoons dragged into sunlight against our will. You can't hate them for it. They're genuinely happy. but you can definitely make fun of it quietly because their energy is borderline absurd. And somehow, despite the frustration, admiration sneaks in. They are organized, alert, somehow managing to do everything while the rest of us are just surviving. The hook lands again because it's impossible not to notice how their mysterious powers of early morning productivity make you question your own life choices, your commitment to sleep, and whether coffee should be classified as a legal stimulant. Watching early risers is both terrifying and fascinating, and that tension, the mix of awe, envy, disbelief, is what makes them endlessly entertaining. The most frustrating and simultaneously fascinating thing about early risers is their unshakable confidence in their morning routines, which makes the rest of us feel like time travelers who got the schedule wrong. You watch them wake up, stretch, move through their day with precision and cheerfulness, while you're still negotiating with your pillow like it's a hostage situation. The hook hits immediately because it's absurd. One person is performing what looks like a carefully choreographed dance with life itself. The rest of the world is fumbling to function before 9 a.m. And the more you watch, the more you start questioning your own life decisions. Why is their day already productive and yours is just starting with panic over whether the coffee is too cold? Even the smallest things early risers do are unnervingly impressive. They make breakfast like it's a chemistry experiment, fold laundry with surgical precision, and answer emails while simultaneously planning the rest of their day. You, on the other hand, are just trying to drink coffee without spilling it on yourself while wondering if hitting snooze again will save your dignity. The hook works because the contrast is so ridiculous. Here's someone living like a motivational poster, and here you are, negotiating survival in your own home. It's comedy gold when you recognize that what feels normal to them is completely alien to you. Then comes the conversation trap. They ask the same question every morning. Don't you love mornings? And you're trapped. Honest answer risks offending them. Any fake answer risks sounding like a weak attempt to participate in their happiness cult. So you mumble something vague, hoping they don't detect the sarcasm dripping from every word. The subtle humor here, the hook, is in the absurdity of trying to coexist with someone who views a cruel hour as a magical opportunity. Their optimism, whether intentional or not, becomes a weapon of subtle intimidation. Early risers also seem to believe that their energy is contagious. They act like they're helping you unlock a new level of productivity or happiness, but really, all they're doing is making you hyper aware of how much more peaceful and organized your life could be if you weren't a creature of the night. There's this strange psychological comedy in watching someone silently judge your inability to exist before sunrise, all while claiming it's for your own benefit. And the hook lands because everyone has experienced this feeling, the simultaneous awe, envy, and gentle mockery of someone who seems to operate on a different biological clock entirely. The subtle charm and danger of early risers is that you can't truly hate them. They're genuinely happy, organized, functioning, which is impressive. And yet, every move they make highlights your own sleep-deprived struggles in the most humorous, relatable way possible. You respect them from a safe distance, quietly marveling at how the world bends around their disciplined routine, while you sneak back to bed or reach for another cup of coffee. The hook is irresistible because it's a mix of envy, fascination, and comedy, the perfect blend that makes early risers endlessly entertaining and slightly terrifying to witness. And somehow, even with all the frustration, watching them reminds you why life is funny. They're performing their own mysterious rituals of success before the sun even finishes stretching, and you're learning, laughing, and surviving in your own time zone. The humor, slight terror of early risers create a story you can't stop thinking about, which is exactly why we keep trying and failing to join them, only to laugh at ourselves every morning. By the time you've spent enough mornings observing early risers, where you step back and realize something both terrifying and hilarious. These people operate on a completely different plane of existence. They are cheerful, productive, and somehow functioning at a time when your body is still negotiating for its life. The hook hits immediately because it's absurd. One person is performing a morning routine that looks like a perfectly rehearsed stage play while you're still figuring out which way is up and whether coffee counts as a food group. You start to wonder how they do it. They were born this way, or if there's a secret manual you missed somewhere, you begin to notice patterns. Early risers wake up, stretch, drink coffee like a ritual, and move through their mornings with a rhythm that makes you question your own life choices. You watch them fold laundry, answer emails, and plan their day with such precision that it borders on comedic absurdity. Meanwhile, you're still staring at a cold cereal bowl, trying to negotiate with your blanket about why it should let you leave. The hook is irresistible because it's relatable. Anyone who has tried and failed to be an early riser knows this mix of awe and helplessness. Interactions with early risers are always tricky. They ask questions like, "Don't you love mornings?" And you have to answer carefully. An honest response could trigger a lecture on productivity, self-improvement, or life hacks, while a fake answer makes you seem weak or unmotivated. So you nod, smile, and mutter something vague, all while internally plotting the next time you can retreat to the safety of your bed. The subtle humor comes from this delicate dance of social survival, the hook being the tension between wanting to participate and wanting to preserve your dignity and sanity. Another thing that's fascinating and slightly terrifying is the confidence early risers have in their routines. They genuinely believe their morning habits are transformative, that waking up before dawn somehow makes them superior humans. The rest of us, still groggy and confused, can't help but be slightly intimidated by it. The comedy comes from watching someone take pride in what feels to you like an unnatural, borderline cruel schedule. The hook works because it's a universal experience for night owls, recognizing someone else's superhuman discipline while trying not to feel bad about your own existence. Mundane tasks become absurdly impressive in the hands of early risers. Making coffee, journaling, even brushing their teeth, purposeful and graceful, while the rest of us are scrambling to survive until noon. You can't hate them for it. They're genuinely happy, organized, thriving, but there's an instinct to quietly mock them just enough to feel sane. The hook lands again because it's funny, relatable, and slightly terrifying at the same time. And yet, despite all the frustration and disbelief, there's something quietly inspiring about early risers. Watching them forces you to confront your own habits, your relationship with sleep, and your own version of productivity. The hook, the mix of admiration, comedy, and disbelief is exactly what makes them endlessly entertaining. You observe, you laugh, you marvel, you survive in your own rhythm, knowing full well that no matter how hard you try, world operates on a timeline you were never meant to join. So yeah, that's the mystery of early risers. You see them glowing at 6 a.m., doing yoga, journaling, somehow being human while the rest of us are negotiating with our blankets like they owe us money. And the best part, even realize how strange they are. They just think mornings are perfect, which makes the rest of us question our life choices and coffee consumption simultaneously. To all the early risers out there, salute you from a safe, well-caffeinated distance. And to the rest of us who roll out of bed at a reasonable hour, just know we're surviving, thriving, and living proof that sleep is underrated.